A Navy warship has collided with a tanker, and unfortunately, this is the 4th time it has happened in the past year. Now, it's important to keep in mind that this is equipped with a missile defense system. And so as a result, there were a lot of conspiracy theories flying around about its GPS systems being hacked into. However, I want to be clear that there hasn't been any evidence of that so far. Now, let me give you the details and the facts of what actually occurred. Now, Monday's crash marked the 4th time this year a US warship has been involved in an accident in Asian waters. In addition to the 10 missing sailors, the Navy said 5 were injured in the collision. 4 of those were flown by a Singapore Navy helicopter to a hospital in Singapore where they were treated for injuries that are not considered life-threatening. Now, we have a quick report on this incident, which will show you the extent of the damage. We'll come right back and give you more details.
A gaping wound on the port side of the USS John S McCain after colliding with an oil tanker close to the entrance of the Malacca Strait, one of the world's busiest shipping routes. 10 sailors are missing, presumed overboard or possibly inside the damaged ship. 5 crew are also injured, and a search and rescue operation is underway. It's reported the crew tried to stem flooding in several places while the vessel headed towards Singapore.
So I just want to say 2 quick things there. One, whenever we show you a video like that, check out the description box because it'll have the full report. If we're showing you a video from someone, they've done a good job with it and you should watch their full report. Now, you mentioned conspiracy theories. I'm going to disagree with you slightly. I think there is some evidence.
What's the evidence? I mean, I haven't seen evidence based on what I've read.
So what I mean by that is not that there's a smoking gun of a memo from the Pentagon saying, yes, they've hijacked our navigation systems and they've been able to hack into it. But I think there is circumstantial evidence. So let's continue the story and then I'll explain what I think that evidence is.
All right, so just to give you a little more information on the extent of the damage, the Navy reported significant hull damage to the McCain. By the way, this vessel was named after John McCain's father and grandfather, which is why it's called the McCain. They were both in the military. Saying there was flooding in berthing compartments as well as machinery and communication rooms. Now, there will be an investigation into this accident and several others that occurred over the last year. James Mattis would like this investigation to take place to kind of figure out why this keeps happening. Let's go to graphic 7, just to give you an outline of the other Navy warships that have experienced similar collisions. On June 17th, the USS Fitzgerald collided with a container ship off the coast of Japan. On May 9th, the guided missile cruiser USS Lake Champlain was struck by a small fishing boat off the Korean peninsula. In late January, the guided missile cruiser USS Antietam ran aground while trying to anchor in Tokyo Bay. So these collisions keep happening, and it's just strange because this isn't typical. So I can see what you mean by some circumstantial evidence, but again, there's no smoking gun at all. So I want to be clear about that.
Okay, so first off, just a quick thing on the John McCain. Both his dad and his grandfather were legendary admirals in the Navy. And part of the reason why he was able to get into the military, he was a captain himself, John McCain was, but he crashed 4 different times. And so Trump, by the way, in reaction to this story, said he prefers ships that don't crash. He didn't say that, but he actually said, oh, that's too bad.
Well, he said that's too bad in regard to the 10 missing sailors. And so that appeared to be a little bit of an inadequate response to something pretty tragic.
Yeah, some official used his account to tweet out, oh, I mean, our thoughts and prayers are with our boys and et cetera, right? So, okay, now on to the main event. So first of all, if Monk has taught me anything, it is that there are no coincidences. So 4 ships in 1 year, that is way too high a number. Now, if it was just, a Korean boat fishing vessel happened to run into a giant ship, yeah, that knucklehead on the fishing boat made a mistake, that's nothing. And if there was 1 accident and that's still nothing. But 4 accidents all in 1 year, I mean, there is a second theory. The second theory is Donald Trump's in charge and incompetence reigns supreme. And the fish stinks from the head down, and everything has become incompetent, and everything's a mess, and we're not winning with that anymore. But I think that's very unlikely. He doesn't get credit for the economy as soon as he walks in. He also doesn't get blamed for all the things that happen as soon as he comes in. Now, on to the theory about why I think that there are issues here. The US military in South Korea began a 10-day military exercise on Monday. The second coincidence is that this crash happens on Monday. So and all 4 of the crashes were in Asian waters. So we're about to do an exercise with South Korea. All of a sudden, one of our ships can't control itself and runs into a giant oil tanker. The oil tankers are enormous. So here's what one. Yes?
Real quick, I just want to give the audience a detail, and it actually kind of speaks to the point you're trying to make. So they apparently lost the ability to steer momentarily. It was a temporary thing, and then they were able to steer again, but it was too late.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. Right. Here, a US Navy official told CNN that the McCain had experienced a loss of steering before the collision. Yeah, so if someone's hacking into our systems, that's exactly what would happen, and that's why you would have the accident. So it's not a conspiracy theory if you have good circumstantial evidence that collisions are happening because you lost control of the ability to steer the ship. Now, it might turn out that it's just a technical failure. There's 1,000 things that it could turn out. That's why Anna's right to say there's no smoking gun. We have no idea if North Korea, China, Russia, whatever, hacked into our ships and etc. But for them to have the inability to steer right before they ran into the other ship, another wild coincidence, and now a series of tremendous coincidences. Now I'm going to quote one other person here, and he says, how does a state-of-the-art, it is an expert in the field, how does a state-of-the-art Navy destroyer equipped with multiple radar systems and communications gear with a full bridge watch not see, detect, and evade a 30,000-ton slow-moving behemoth? So when you put all that together, something is amiss here. And I don't know what it is. I don't know who did it. I don't know if it's just a technical failure on our part or if there's an adversary here who's messing with our ability to steer the ships at important moments. But if there's a chance that it's the latter, oh boy, that internal review that they have just ordered is more than necessary, and it is an incredibly high priority. And let me add one last thing that's very important here. If it turns out it was a foreign power who did this, and in the last accident, we lost 7 people. 7 of our sailors died. Now we have another 10 missing. If that's an attack on the United States and we've lost some of our service people to those attacks, that's as serious as a heart attack. So I'm afraid of what they might find out in this investigation, because then we might have to take action. That is not good news for the whole world. If you like this video, you'll love the whole TYT network. Check it out at tytnetwork.com/join.